inside now. You're seeing it in decor and fashion. It's yellow. So we were embracing yellow again, and we're not scared of it. It's adding that punch of happiness to our homes, and we're going to talk about how to do it the right way.
Yeah, there's so many different ways, and I always say all color, it's all about context. You don't just choose the color individually. You got to think about what's in your space. But when you see it so many different ways, it can be so confusing. So I do have those beautiful photographs of some bright, cheery yellows that we can take a peek at.
So this first picture, I mean, that's bold.
That is sun porch. But with the gray, it feels very contemporary, right? And it's just part of the space, part of the room, and they've left the bottom gray. So again, contemporary, but strong. It's
very strong.
Not afraid of yellow.
So if you're thinking that might be a lot for you, there's this picture where, I mean, it warms up the space. It's gorgeous.
That is hawthorn yellow, one of my favorites. And with the white, it really comes to life because it can be pretty pale. But again, lots of natural lights. You want to think about the yellow in the context of your space again.
Absolutely. And then the third picture as well. I think it's done so beautifully. And, you know, it's worth mentioning that all three spaces, I believe, are kitchens.
Oh yeah, you're right. Like that's where you want. Right, you were talking about that before with your own kitchen. Like it's a place where you want dynamic. You want a dynamic feel. You want it to be lively. You want sunshine, even if you don't have the sunshine.
That's right.
Exactly.
So I'm washing dishes all day long in front of a wall. So we put a huge piece of art. And it's almost like the sun. It's a beautiful bright yellow.
So I really think you can. Like you can bring yellow into pops, you can do it in accents, and then you can do it on the wall. And we've really been seeing it on the runways and home accessories, and we're starting to see it in paint. And one of the things that someone was asking me why, and I think honestly metals really determine trends a lot. So we had the cooler stainless steels. We're moving into the brass, the coppers, those warmer metals. So that tends to influence our hues for accessories and for paint certainly. So that's a huge influence. Now, what makes yellow feel new is always the other colors that it's with, right? Or any color in that matter, how you see it again after 30 years. So in the 90s, it was yellow and blue. You remember the moon and the sky and all those borders. So we saw it that way, but now the blue is still a fantastic combination. It really helps to give some grounding to yellow, but adding the pink, touches of pink. And again, it's springy, but it doesn't have to just be springy. You've got kind of that dusty rose. You've got this really pale, almost cosmetic pink. And then in the fall, if you want to think of those accessories as seasonal, you could really pull up the more fuchsias. So this grounding rug isn't something you're going to change seasonally. It's got a lot of colors, but again, it does have that grounding effect. This is a more traditional, heavier wood. So again, we've got some heavier pieces. And then we've got this fantastic modern egg chair.
Lovely.
So we're mixing modern and traditional, but this is the lightest thing in the room. So it's a pale gray. So we've got a lot of things going on. Sure, you could just do white, but the right yellow is just perfect. So if I told you the name of this, it's Concord Ivory.
Concord Ivory.
Concord Ivory. Don't let the names deceive you, though.
Okay. You got to really look at it. And the thing is, you said something interesting. You said the right yellow.
The right yellow.
You might think to yourself, okay, I'm going yellow, so I want yellow.
Exactly, Tracy. That's exactly it.
And you do that on your wall.
And you go, banana yellow, like we saw
in
there. I'm going to show you what happens when you bring banana yellow into this context. It's a little like a highlighter, like it's a little too much.
You come home from a hard day's of work and your wall is yelling at you.
It's too much.
How was your day?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
You don't need coffee.
Right.
But again, because it doesn't work with the heavier woods and the heavier rug. And then on the other side of the coin, hawthorn yellow, which is another color from Benjamin Moore's historical palette, which I absolutely love. It's probably my favorite. It's a little too wimpy in this context.
Maybe, like it needs that moodiness, and that's what the yellow on your wall has. It's got depth, it's got a bit of gray, it tempers it a bit, and it maybe makes it slightly more sophisticated.
Absolutely, definitely more sophisticated, and that's what you really need to think about. The more saturated and the more gray that's in a color, it feels more sophisticated. So if everything was white and modern and happy and chipper, then you know what, you can get away with banana yellow.
Yes.
But when you want a more sophisticated look, you want to look into those historical colors. Concord Ivory might look a bit brown when you look at it in the chips, but don't be deceived in the paint store. Bring it home. Don't just look at the little chips. I always say paint out a nice big board, look at it with everything else, and then you're going to find the perfect yellow.
You found the perfect set. So thank you so much to Mobilio for all of these great pieces.